Good Friday morning, friends. Welcome back for another episode of the Finding God in the Dark podcast. My name is Don.
And my name is Jonathan.
And this week we are talking about the film that is new in theaters. I think it's only been out a week, just
Yep.
over a week now. Fantastic Four: First Steps. It is a Marvel film. It is an origin, sort of an origin story
Yeah. Somewhat.
of the Fantastic Four, but in an alternate universe. So this is Earth 828,
Yeah.
whereas most of the Marvel films that we know are Earth 616.
Yeah.
If you're following all of that, if
Yeah.
not, it's an
In
alternate
Marvel
story.
Comics, there is multiple dimensions, and
Yes.
yeah, so that's what they're
Yeah.
talking about.
So it's an alternate storyline. The aesthetic on this I think is really interesting because it's like a retro future kind of
Yeah.
it's modern technology, but it
60s.
really
Yeah.
like a 50s, 60s
Yeah.
aesthetic,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
It stars Pedro Pascal.
Mhm.
Um, oh gosh, I had the list
Oh,
pulled up.
Vanessa Kirby.
Vanessa Kirby is Sue Storm.
I don't remember who plays Johnny Storm, I'll be honest.
Yeah. See, I only know him as Eddie Munson from Stranger.
The
Um,
actor known as Eddie. So
yeah, the actor known as Eddie Munson. No, the cast is good.
yeah.
I mean, let's put it that way. The cast is good. Um, and let's see, where do you want to go with this, John? Where do you want to start?
Um we could kind of go with the theme of um, family, which I think is kind of a underlying theme of really a Fantastic Four comic. It's the idea of the kind of the family that you choose. I mean, two of them are brother sister, but the other two have been chosen to be part of this, this community, and they
Well,
have
Reed and Sue are married, and Ben, the thing is Reed's best friend. So,
yeah. So it's kind of the idea of the family that you create, their their dependence on each other and their reliance on each other. And then I feel like this movie really flows that out and kind of makes an argument of the idea that community needs to be a central part of everybody's life because they make an argument several times to crowds that we need each other, we need to work together, we need to do this to overcome this obstacle. So in a lot of ways it's this idea, it's kind of harkening back to the idea of even though it's kind of set in a retro's 50s 60s, it's kind of harking back to that era in terms of understanding about the idea of how America works. We work together, we take on a great challenge, we come together as a people around a great need. Think about World War I or World War II, the Great Depression, that kind of idea. Yeah.
I think it does that well. If one of the things I think this film really did well
Yeah.
was the uh, that focus on family.
Yeah.
And there's a storyline here, and I'm not really giving a whole lot away here. I know it's still in
Yeah.
theaters, but a lot of this stuff was in the trailers. That Galactus, the World Eater, is going to come and destroy the planet. He's going to eat the planet, basically. And he says, give me your child. Reed and Sue have just had a child. Give me
Yeah.
your child, and I'll spare your planet.
Yeah.
And so there's this tension between, all of society saying, well, the I put it the logic of Star Trek. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. And so, sacrifice your child, and her saying, no, I'm not giving up my child to save the whole planet. And I love when she comes out of the Baxter building and makes that
Explained that.
speech where she says, I won't sacrifice my child to save all of you, nor would I sacrifice all of you to save my
Save my
child,
child. Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
just a perfect encapsulation of that idea that we need each other, you
Yeah.
know? even if those, like most of the people that they saved kind of were evacuated and weren't part of the solution, but still need each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was and something this film did well that a bunch of the recent Marvel films have not done well. Oh, the Thunderbolts did pretty decently,
Yeah.
but prior to that, a bunch of these films there was no emotional connection.
Mhm.
There really was a pretty decent emotional connection in this. There were moments here where, like somebody was cutting onions in the theater again. What's going on? No, seriously, like I'm
Yeah.
just, wow, that was, that I felt that,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
and I mean that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely. Some of this might have been I was in a theater that for some reason they decided not to turn on the air conditioning. I'm not sure why. So it was pretty hot. Uh, um, I liked it less than I liked Superman, but I did enjoy it. Um, I did enjoy it, and I do think they did an amazing job on the set designs and kind of that creativity of this idea of kind of fusing the old and the new. And
Yeah,
my guess is I'm not a again I'm not a huge comic book person, but my guess is they're kind of trying to do an homage to when Fantastic Four started because I know it started in the late '60s, that kind of
yeah.
idea. And
Oh,
I
they're definitely. I mean, this is definitely, honoring, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. This film was definitely. I mean, they put them in the credits. So yeah, it's and 828. I don't know if you caught that. Did you stay through the end?
no,
So
oh,
it's
I did
eight
stay
to
to the
eight.
end. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Kirby's birthday,
Oh, okay.
August 28th, or
That's pretty
yeah,
interesting.
8. Yeah, August 28th.
Yeah, I did hear that. I thought it was kind of neat. This is the thing in the um, comic books is Jewish. Both Kirby and Stan Lee are Jewish, um,
Mhm.
and this is the first time in a movie or TV show that the Ben Grimm character was played by a actual Jewish person, which so it's kind of neat. Um, that idea of and they kind of played with that idea of him going to a synagogue, um, the idea of kind of being a part of this very Jewish community. I mean, it was nice. Kind of again, I to me this felt like a retro movie. It kind of felt not only in kind of its look, but the idea of kind of going back to old themes of what comic book movies were about. This
Yeah.
idea of overcoming a huge obstacle, this idea of pulling people together that normally wouldn't work together, that those kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it did that well.
Yeah.
Um the interesting thing with the whole Jewish angle, though, he does go to the synagogue, and you kind of get the implication that he's going there. Well, I mean, he says as much. He's going there to see this
Yeah.
woman that
Yes.
he has a thing for.
Yeah. It's not a deep spiritual moment, but
No, 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 but still, we'll take it.
yes, we're working on it.
Exactly.
um, you know, I do think though that that idea to me something that I feel like churches really have to struggle with is we have a tendency to kind of create our own world and kind of shape the community the way we would like it.
Mhm.
And I do think an important lesson for Christians is to remember that the church is supposed to be a broad community of people come basically the theme of this movie in some regards people coming together to work together to overcome problems in the world.
Yeah.
Like and kind of and seeing past the differences and kind of melding together and finding a deeper connection than the things that would divide them. So
Yeah, and again, if I don't know how many people would pick up on that if we, wasn't something like we're sitting here going, hey, that's kind of a big deal, you
Yeah,
know? I think a lot of people go, oh, it's nice, it's a little family thing, but no, 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 there's more here,
yeah. I mean,
Um,
I try to point out, like, especially in Paul, a lot of Paul's letters. I didn't know this until I read scholars and went to seminary, but he liked to prove his arguments by basically infusing in his letters things that the people uh, that he's writing to would have known and had heard before. So he includes hymns in the arguments of his letters. He includes creeds, like early creeds. And one of those creeds, most scholars now believe that when he quotes, he talks about baptism and then quotes this statement right after it in Galatians, he's actually quoting a creed that everybody would have probably said or at least heard at their baptism, which was, there's neither Jew nor Greek, slave or free, male or female. We are all one in Christ Jesus. That idea is something that we really is foundational to Christianity, but unfortunately, through most of the church's history, we've been battling against actually living that out.
yeah, and I think what a lot of people are going, may see this film
Yeah,
and they're not used to this. Like this used to be a core thing in movie making. It was about family. If you go back to even the 90s, the 80s and 90s films, there was so much of this. And we've kind of lost it in the last 20, 30 years. Um, this, this felt like an old film.
yeah, it did. No,
It really did.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, to me, granted, I don't read a lot of comic books, but I feel like you see that in Stan Lee's work, right? The X-Men is another example. It's this group of people that are very diverse, coming from all over, but they decide to become a family and they decide to face things together.
Yeah.
That kind of idea.
Yeah, well, see, and you just touched on the comic book that I read the most when I was,
Yeah,
buying comic books on the regular was X-Men.
yeah,
And that's one of the reasons because it felt like old school. This is what family's about, and this is what the church is about. This is what the church should be, you
yeah,
know. Um, so yeah, other thoughts and themes here. Um,
yeah. That's it.
Go ahead.
I To me, I don't know if this is directly kind of in. Again, I haven't read enough of Galactus. Galactus is the big bad in this movie. He literally eats planets. That's what he does. He goes around the universe and consumes planets, destroys them. And I felt like there was an element of misuse of natural resources in there somewhere. Kind of this idea of, this is mine, I get to take it and use it however I want. And it doesn't matter how I hurt people. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter for Galactus. It doesn't matter who's on the planet. He's going to eat it and he's going to use it. And everybody else can just go pound rocks. Um, and to me, there is kind of an environmentalist idea there about how do we take care of resources, who gets the control of resources, you know, uh, who should benefit from resources. Because, I mean, you can kind of play this out in some regards of colonialism, right? Unfortunately, people from Europe went to Africa and went like, "Oh, you have things we want. We're just going to take them and use them." And that idea of, it's not yours, it doesn't matter. We have more power. We can do this. And I mean, that is a unfortunately long reality of human history, of more powerful people taking stuff they want from people that they feel like they can conquer. And there is that element, I would guess, in Galactus, because he has this kind of attitude like, it doesn't matter that the people of Earth might die. It doesn't matter. He needs this. He wants this. And that kind of selfishness is something I think as human beings we're called to fight against as Christians. That idea of, it's not about just me.
I wonder though, um, I wonder if see, I don't know the original intention of the authors.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't need.
Um, but I wonder if it is more. Um, Not so much that, resource
Yeah,
idea, but more a matter of does might make right?
yeah. I can do
And
it,
I
so
mean, we're in the
yeah,
same vein there. It's
yeah,
That's not really a deviation from the thought,
yeah.
but
They're not
I'm
worlds apart, but yeah,
yeah, I'm just wondering if, particularly when you consider, like, these authors, Kirby and Lee, would have lived through World War II.
yeah,
And so, they're looking at this strong German power just deciding to take over
yeah,
Europe. And
yeah,
Germany thought they were right. This
yeah,
was there to, and,
yeah,
does might make right,
yeah.
you know?
No,
And
no, that's
if Germany had won and written history,
yeah.
well, that's
Of
the
course.
man in the high castle. That's a different story. But
No, but that I do think that idea of if we can do something, should we do something? And that I do think that idea it's a powerful idea that unfortunately we often don't think about, which is um, I want this, I need this, but by getting it, who am I affecting?
yeah,
And how might I be negatively affecting them? That's something we don't often think about. Like, I remember watching a documentary recently about food production, and there are places, mostly in the South, but there are places like with lakes, pretty much man-made lakes of pig waste, and like this one lady who lives near one said, when the wind's right and the rain's going, she will get pig feces all over her house. Like it'll rain on her house, you know, and you're thinking, well, maybe I could do with less bacon. Like maybe we could cut back just a little bit,
now
and
hold on a second. Bacon?
this lady's house won't be covered in poop. Maybe that's what we should do. But
No, no.
that
But
idea
but
is
we're talking about bacon. Maybe she can just take one for the team.
yeah, I'm sure she'll do that willingly. Yes,
Sorry.
but no, but that idea of not often thinking about where our resources come from, how they impact the people that we get them from,
Yeah.
if those people are benefited by how we're using them or how we're getting them from the land. I mean, those things are interesting conversations that we usually skip over.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a fair assessment. Like I said, I would, I don't know the original intent of the authors,
Yeah,
but you're right. I think the argument still stands
yeah, no.
because
Because,
it's a power argument, right?
well, I
It's a
mean,
power
yeah,
imbalance argument.
absolutely. I mean, for if I don't think it's a crazy idea that they were, um, they were raised in. They may have participated in, but they were at least around for World War II,
Yeah,
and Hitler was, I want Poland, and I want the lands around Germany because they were taken away from Germany, and I want them back. And he didn't care what the Polish people thought. He didn't
right,
care what the rest of Europe thought. He didn't care.
right.
And that idea of I can take something, so I'm going to take something, and I don't care how it impacts you, is something that I think sometimes we basically go, well, I don't have the power to do that. Like I can't take over a country, so this isn't a problem in my life. But I don't think we do think about sometimes how we do use our power or misuse our power. And most of us have some degree of power over somebody, and how we use it is worth us taking time to think about. I think.
It's worth consideration. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what else? There's obviously there's obviously a theme here of sacrifice.
Mhm.
And, at one point, one, I'm not going to give storyline away, but one member of the team tries to sacrifice themselves to save the planet. Um, and so again, in a lot of these situations, I come back to something from a preaching class in seminary. When you have that figure that is willing to sacrifice themselves for the good of all of humanity,
Yeah.
they're taking on a Christ role. It's a Christ figure.
Yeah.
Um, I I don't think it always applies, but
No,
it's an interesting thought.
but I do think it's important for Christians to recognize that baked in kind of the framework of how we are called to be in community as Christians is the idea that we're all called to join our sacrifices with the grand sacrifice of Christ.
Yeah.
You know, like like we're called to sacrifice for other people and join that sacrifice with Jesus' sacrifice.
As one member of my church would say, Jesus died on a cross for you. The smallest sacrifice you can make is to not sleep in on Sunday morning.
Yeah, but I really do think, I think about one of the things that just popped in my head. But Wesley, for a long time, was extremely poor, and he didn't have a lot of money. And even after he got hired as a professor and had
Well,
money,
he was raised in a pastoral family,
yeah,
so his
yes,
dad didn't have a lot of.
yes. But while he was going through school and while he didn't have a lot of income, he didn't get his haircut. When he got his pastors, when he got his job as a professor at Oxford and could afford haircuts, he decided, I've been getting along without him fine. I'm going to give the money I would give if I went to get a haircut, and I'm going to give it to the poor. And that's kind of what I'm talking about of, you know, just because we now have the resources to do something doesn't mean we have to do it. And instead of that money just sitting in our bank account, we could choose to give it to people who need it. You know, the other example is he split up his he asked people, I think, to pick six homeless people to take his coffin to his final resting place, and then he divvied up the remainder of his estate to them. That's what his will had. Like, so this idea of I am going, what I have has been given to me for the benefit of all, which is from Second Peter. He really tried to live into that. I think that's something as Methodists we should try to live into too. How can we remember everything we have is for the benefit of the community?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Anything else we want to talk about on Fantastic Four? It was, I think, in the more practical sense, to get away a little bit from the theology.
Yeah,
Um, Marvel is hoping this is kind of because this is the last film before they jump into another two-part
yeah,
mega blockbuster thing. They're bringing back Robert Downey Jr.
yeah,
And so this is supposed to lead into Avengers Doomsday.
yeah,
And so they're banking a lot on this film.
yeah.
I'm not sure it reached those heights for them.
No, I felt like, yeah, I like it, but
I like it.
I don't know if I'm going to go see it. I don't like there are comic book movies that well, I guess how I put it is the Superman film for me. I'm excited to see where they go with Superman. Like, I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to the next movie. I'll go see probably the next Marvel movie, but I'm not extremely excited to see where they go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I would say in the same vein, okay, my daughter wanted to see this last weekend when it came out.
yeah,
And I couldn't do that. My wife was away. I had to take like her and both of my boys, and it was not feasible.
yeah,
Um, and so then this week I've been doing vacation Bible school,
yeah,
and so I've been really tied up. And I actually went and saw it at a 10 a.m. showing today,
yeah,
and she didn't go with me.
yeah,
All that is to say, if she wants to see it, she's going to have to go see it by herself because
yeah,
I probably won't pay to see it again. Now,
yeah,
when it comes out on Disney Plus, will I watch it again? Probably. It's a
yeah,
good story. I
yeah,
enjoyed it,
yeah,
but it didn't blow my socks off.
yeah,
And I think Marvel, I don't know what they could have done differently to do that. I'm not saying I know,
yeah.
but I don't think this is going to accomplish what they needed it to do.
Well, I were you surprised? Were you surprised that with the ending of the Thunderbolts. That with the again spoiler alert, but at the very end of Thunderbolts, after the credits roll, the credit scene is you see a rocket come into the atmosphere, and it clearly says Fantastic Four on it. Did you were you shocked that they didn't end this movie that way? Like there was no
Yeah,
connection.
where was the connection? Where was the
Yeah,
crossover? They didn't do that in this film. And I really thought that that was going to somehow be the solution.
yeah,
And they didn't. It didn't happen. So I don't know. And see, that's there's another angle there too, because at the end of Thunderbolts, they called um they called the Thunderbolts the New Avengers.
yeah.
Now, I don't know if you've read this rumor or heard this rumor, but apparently Marvel is banking on Reed Richards, so Pedro Pascal, being the leader of the Avengers in Doomsday, Avengers Doomsday.
Okay.
So then who are the Thunderbolts if they're the new event? I see, I'm not.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody missed a connection here somewhere, it feels like.
Yeah, I feel like they listened to the criticism that, the idea that you had to go see every Marvel movie before you saw the next Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And there was some criticism about that, but in a weird way, I felt like they disconnected it too much. So I guess I would have encouraged them to find a happy medium.
Yeah. See, and I'm going to go back to something I have said, I know multiple times at this point. Tell me a good story.
Yeah,
You don't have to connect 18 movies together to tell me a good story. Some people can tell me a really great story in 90 minutes,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
It doesn't have to be a epic 12 film series to be a good story,
yeah.
you
No,
know?
I agree with don't tie everything into everything, but at the same time, there was a part of me that's like, I kind of wanted a little more tie into your next movie. Like,
Yeah,
just a
well,
little bit.
absolutely. Yes. And that, like I said, I think they missed the mark there.
Yeah,
I think they missed the mark there with what they set up in Thunderbolts and then what they gave us in Fantastic Four,
yeah.
which again, Fantastic Four is not a bad movie.
No,
It's not.
no.
I have seen reviews. There's one fella that I, listen to a lot, not particularly about movies, but he did a movie review on this, and he hated it. And he went into immersive detail about why he hated it. And I'm sitting there watching and going, I see a little of what he's saying, but I didn't have that
I,
same feeling.
actually, I would kind of I kind of would say my middle child's reaction, Nathan, was how I kind of felt. I went like, "What'd you think?" He was like, "Huh?" Like, he was like, "Yeah."
Fantastic. Eh.
Yeah. So again, that's not the reaction you would want, but at the same time, it's not like "Oh, this is horrible" movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not. No, it's good.
Yeah,
I think it's if you're if you love the Marvel movies, it's worth seeing.
yeah,
Okay? I think it's worth seeing if you enjoy the Marvel movies.
yeah,
But I wouldn't run out there to see it, you
no,
know. I wouldn't pay to see it twice. I wouldn't, go crazy about it.
yeah.
Um, but
I
it's
mean,
worth seeing. It's
I,
fun.
I think the example I can give was I went and saw Sinners, and then when we finally decided to do it on the podcast, I had no issue putting down the $20 to buy it.
To
So
yeah, right,
I was like, yeah, every couple years, I'll probably put this back in and watch it. Like, and that's just not the reaction
right.
I had in this movie.
Yeah, no, and I think I agree 100%. I loved Sinners, but
Yeah,
Sinners was great.
yeah,
And this is not to that level.
no,
But it was fun. I
yeah,
enjoyed it. I wasn't checking my watch every 5 minutes or anything like that, um,
I think
but
it kind of was hurt because I had a much more positive react for me at least. I had a much I had a step up positive reaction to Superman, and I think coming the next week kind of was like, oh, okay, like
yeah, I hear that. Uh,
yeah,
I get that. I get that. So I guess in total, Fantastic Four is not a bad film.
no,
It
I,
is not, again, so in the same vein as Superman got some criticism for being woke, it's not a woke film either.
no,
In fact, I think it is very much the opposite of that. I think it does a lot towards family values and cooperation, and I think those are really good ideas and themes to build a film around. But I think it misses the mark at times, and I
yeah,
think that's why it's not a great film.
yeah, yeah.
So.
I think it's fair.
So anyway, friends, I guess that we'll wrap up our discussion of Fantastic Four for this week. Next week, again, let's pull the curtain back.
Yeah.
Next week, which we're going to film
This
immediately
week.
after we finish this, because we've already watched the film. We're going to watch a film that is on Netflix right now. It is a 2025, I think it came out this year, right?
Yep.
Horror film called Until Dawn.
Yep.
And we will talk about that. You will see it next Friday. Until then, friends, take care and God bless. Keep on finding God in the dark. We'll see you later. Oh, hey, you made it all the way to the end of the video. Well, thanks for watching. We appreciate your support. And friends, if you find anything that's really wonderful or entertaining or helpful in your Christian walk, we want to encourage you to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share this video with your friends. We publish every Friday morning at 10 a.m. And we hope that you continue to find these videos and these discussions entertaining and informative. Take care and God bless. Bye.